Thank you for that kind introduction. About a month ago, I was fortunate enough to participate in a painting workshop. And the instructor gave us a canvas and said, now, we'll teach you how to paint. Now, she said one thing which was very interesting is that do not start painting till the time I tell you so. Now, we were all executives filled in a room, and within 2 minutes, as soon as she started painting, we picked up our brushes and we started painting. Probably that's what happens when you put all executives in a room, right? And but now our mindset changed as painters or novice painters that hey, we need to finish the painting and start catching up with what she's doing. And unfortunately, many of us had many mistakes, or I should say accidents, throughout the entire process. But as we started having these brush strokes of accidents, we were able to see the painting with a very different perspective. And were able to look at that canvas which we were playing with in a different limelight. My name is Anis Merchant. I am an executive at an AI company, plus an avid biker, a photographer, as well as a podcaster. Now, why did I start talking about painting? Because that's something which I was very good at till the age of 10. And the reason for that was I was born with club feet. As a child, I have been through many surgical operations. And these operations were as young as when I was a month old. And through that entire journey of operations, there was a not supposed to be a last operation which I had to undertake to ensure that one of my feet get situated and placed in the right fashion which normal feet are. And it had its own turn of events. Because my body had been through so many stages of operations, in the last one, which was not supposed to be last, started rejecting morphine. And when the body starts rejecting morphine, and at that time, many years ago, the doctors decided, hey, let's inject more morphine so that I can sleep, and I can be unconscious. And I did sleep. But during the midst of an operation, the plasters which were there, they were opened up, and my feet were opened up. As a child, I wake up, and I see my feet all opened up, blood, and I fall back. I still have those vivid memories in my mind till today. And because seeing what happened, doctors started injecting more morphine. And unfortunately, after the operation was done, I went into a coma. So the doctors decided that, hey, I told my parents that this is the last operation he's ever going to have on his feet. He's going to walk. But walking for me was very different than a regular human being. Because I couldn't wear normal shoes. I couldn't participate in many physical activities, which led me to a lot of chubby or putting on a lot of baby fat on. And if you've seen people who've had club feet, who've been through a series of operations, they are supposed to be wearing specific shoes, they're supposed to be wearing a lot of braces, which I had to do. And at the age of 10, I couldn't take it anymore as a child. In fact, whenever I went to school, a lot of teachers, my colleagues who were the students, or anybody on the street, when they would see me walking in braces, they would pity me. Instead of looking at me and my eye, they would look down. And it was not a pleasant scenario. I couldn't participate in any games, I couldn't participate in any curricular activities which were planned for me. And at that age, I wanted to give up. I went and I spoke to my parents. I bursted in tears. And I said, Mom, Dad, I can't take this anymore. I cannot be or wear these shoes. I'm not able to participate in any activities which are there in the school. There were a few things which my parents said at that time which really changed me and changed my perspective towards life. The first one being, do not look at the situation which you are in as the only destiny. If the universe has taken something away from you, has given you many other things. For example, you're very good with mathematics, you're very good with creative skills, you're very good with a lot of other activities. Why not focus on that? The second, do not try to focus on the feet, because then your brain and body will start focusing more on the feet than what you would want it to focus on. And the third thing is participate. It's not about winning, it's all about participation. And I started participating. In fact, I leveraged that daily fat I had as an advantage. I started participating in tug of war. I, in fact, won my team the game because I became the anchor. And you think about pulling a person who's big, best of luck with that. And not just that, in cricket, which is all about feet, since I was not quick with my feet, I was placed in positions, whether it was gully or points position, where I was very good with my hands. I was very good with my reflexes. I was able to catch some good catches which were coming at a bullet speed. So that was my childhood. And now when you speed forward in my first job, which was an event which I had never planned, which was at McDonald's. And at 18, when I started working, I didn't realize how difficult it is going to be for me. Because working in a hospitality environment, you have to stand. Especially in a company like McDonald's, you have to stand. Because that's what the job demands. And within 1 month, it became very, very difficult for somebody like me who had different feet, who had a different problem with the leg, couldn't stand up. And I was really, really upset. I was almost ready to give up. And at that one night, when I was given a huge test, said, hey, you have to clean this. I started cleaning, I was in tears. And there was a thought which came to my mind at that time that this decision of starting to work was mine. It was not someone else. I was responsible for starting this entire job. And why should I go back to being that 10-year-old who was self-pitying, who was in a despair that, hey, life is not going to be fair, life is not going to be fun, I cannot do many things. And that moment of, hey, this is my decision, I need to live up to it, I was able to change that perspective. And believe me or not, those 3 years where I was at McDonald's almost became an MBA for me, which I couldn't even think about an experience which I could get from that specific experience. And that changed my entire career trajectory. But like me and for me, I lost my first job. And that job I lost was not because I did something wrong. I was running an entire shift. I was running the store at that time, and one of the person who was standing behind the counter had a very deliberate remark for one of the customers. And it became an escalation. I was young, I was not able to manage it well. And because of that situation, I was let go. Not only me, the other individual as well. It was an important lesson that customers are always right. That's not the only first instance where I have lost a job. I have lost job 2 more times. And the last job which I lost was an interesting one, because in that, it was not only me who lost the job. I had to hand over 150 pink slips to individuals in that company, because that company was getting sold and the customer we were working for decided to take that particular program and give it to someone else. And in each of these instances, whether it be personal, professional, health, life, has put me into these different moments which have been very monumental in terms of when I look back today. They've almost been these accidents which I never planned for, I never thought that they would come. And in an unfortunate situation, they led me to areas which were very dark. And when I talk about these dark areas, I couldn't even relate to people who were around me. I couldn't even like anything. I was very frustrated with myself, with life, because I was started thinking about I cannot do this anymore, or I cannot do that because what my life was planned, I'm completely in a despair. I cannot fathom of not living that life which was already working out. And these accidents put me into these whirlwinds which kind of got me sucked in. However, with every job loss in the last 26 years, it has led me to jump different industries which have been concentric circles to my early profession. This entire career in AI is not something which I had planned for. Today, where I am, is not something which I had planned for, or even I could think about when I was a child or I was starting my career. I'm so thankful to where I am because in the last 2 decades, I have been able to look at the world, travel around the world, see and experience different cultures and different nuances, which has really helped me to broaden my horizon, broaden my experience, and more importantly, help me understand that the world is far more bigger than what we believe it to be. And it is often true that with many folks, when we come across these accidents, they unfortunately put us in despair. And they put us in situations which we do not want to be. And I know that accidents do happen. And with a show of hands, if you all can tell me how many have been through the accidents, or have had an accident, or have experienced an accident, right? Maybe one, maybe more. And these accidents open up gates which we feel are going to be a gate which is going to be life-ending for many of us. But there is a big learning here that instead of getting sucked in to those whirlwinds or getting sucked in into a world of despair where we start repenting of the situation, can we take a step back? Because when these accidents happen, they actually, yes, they are traumatic, they are hurtful, but they also open up a lot of many other doors and opportunities which we often miss out. And it is not probably one door, there are many doors which open up, which if we enter, we will be able to experience life and see life in a very different way. And that is been my biggest learning. And today, the reason why I'm here is to share that story and inspire you that when you go through such incidents or accidents, and I pray and hope for each one of you that they are not traumatic. But even if life happens and you do go through such an experience, hopefully you're not getting into that whirlwind and getting sucked into the despair, but you're able to take a step back and then focus on what are those opportunities or the doors which open up. Because as you start looking at all of these opportunities, it will allow you to look at the world in a very different way and opportunities in a different way. So my only perspective to each one of you, as you start looking at these accidents, look at these masterful strokes or brushes, which you didn't intend to, or you accidentally intended it to be. But now that canvas requires a very different perspective and different point of view. Because in any chaos, like accidents, there's always an opportunity which will help you open up many doors.